General Hospital spoilers leak Carly Spencer, Laura Wright, and Nana Reeves, Cynthia Watros, are headed for troubled waters up ahead. We never thought we'd see the day that these two would unite for a common good, or at least, that's the way they'll see it. Not everyone is going to feel the same way when the truth comes out that they were working together to break up Drew Quartermaine, Cameron Matheson, and Willow Corinthos, Caitlin McMullen. Can these two powerhouse women really put aside their past differences for the betterment of their shared family's future? Will the truth about how much they really share in common when it comes to Drew find a way of coming out and threaten to ruin their alliance in the process? Just one thing. One thing. That's all that Nina and Carly will really agree on. That Drew is a predatory pariah and has no place in their family anymore, least of all near their grandchildren. While Nina seems to think her daughter is just a child with stars in her eyes about the dreamy guy who saved her life, Carly can't fathom what Willow was thinking when it comes to cheating on Michael Corinthos, Chad Duell, nor in the way she did it. Carly is defensive of Michael, and rightfully so, but Nina would love nothing more than for Willow and Michael to never reconcile. Nina is far from transparent, right? Carly has far less to lose in this scenario. She couldn't care less if Willow never spoke to her again. All right, maybe that's not true, but she would survive it. The same can't really be said for Nina. Willow means everything to her, and losing access to her daughter again would mean also losing access to Wiley Corinthos, Viron Weaver, and Amelia Corinthos, Sequoia, and Serenity Mork-Mako. Thus, Nina can't afford to screw this up, which means she definitely can't tell Carly the truth about her daytime romps with Drew at the office, or can she? If she really needs to pull Carly over to her side, will she tell her the whole truth and risk being exposed? Cooler heads prevail. Forget about Nina and Carly going at it when it comes to how they feel about each other. Carly is furious with Willow right now just as much as she is with Drew. Is Nina going to take that line down? Is Carly going to be able to curtail her snarky comments and refrain from calling Willow every nasty name in the book to spare Nina's feelings? We're sure to see some bumps in the road along the way as these two aim to align with one another in the best interests of their family. Carly Spencer stood at the edge of the Metro Court's rooftop lounge, her fingers curled around the stem of a wine glass as she stared out at the Port Charles skyline. The city glittered under the evening lights, a stark contrast to the turmoil brewing inside her. She had always prided herself on being a strong woman, one who could withstand anything. But this was testing her limits. "You look like you're about to break that glass in your hand," a voice drawled behind her. Carly turned, her lips already twisting into a sneer before she caught herself. Nina Reeves, the last person she wanted to see. "I didn't invite you here for small talk, Nina," Carly said, setting her glass down on the table. "You said it was important." Nina slid into the chair opposite Carly, her eyes scanning the rooftop for any eavesdroppers. "It is. We need to talk about Drew." Carly narrowed her eyes. "We don't need to do anything. I don't know what game you're playing, but I don't trust you." Nina sighed, running a manicured hand through her blonde hair. "I don't trust you either, Carly. But this isn't about us. It's about Willow, and Michael, and the fact that Drew is manipulating everyone." Carly's jaw tightened at the mention of her son. Michael can take care of himself. Maybe, Nina conceded. But Willow, she's different. She's been through too much, and now she's falling for Drew's act. You can see that, can't you? Carly crossed her arms. She hated agreeing with Nina about anything, but she couldn't deny the facts. Drew had inserted himself into their family in ways that made her uncomfortable. And then there was the matter of Willow's betrayal. She cheated on Michael, Carly admitted bitterly. I don't know what she was thinking. Nina arched a brow. She wasn't. That's the problem. Drew has this way of making women feel like they need him, like he's the only one who can save them. Carly scoffed. You sound like you're speaking from experience. Nina looked away, her lips pressing together in a thin line. Carly's eyes widened slightly before narrowing again. "Oh my God," Carly whispered. "You and Drew." Nina exhaled sharply. It wasn't serious, just a mistake. Carly let out a humorless laugh. "You really are something else." "I didn't tell you this to gloat," Nina snapped. "I told you because you need to understand how dangerous Drew is. If we don't do something, he's going to sink his claws even deeper into Willow. And if that happens, Michael will never forgive her." Carly wanted to lash out, to call Nina every name in the book, but deep down, she knew that wouldn't solve anything. And as much as it pained her to admit it, Nina had a point. "So what do you suggest?" Carly asked begrudgingly. Nina leaned forward, a glint of determination in her eyes. "We break them up, for good." Carly stared at her, weighing the consequences of such an alliance. She had spent years despising Nina, blaming her for everything that had gone wrong in their lives. But now, for the first time, they had a common enemy. And Carly Spencer never backed down from a fight. Over the next few weeks, Carly and Nina executed their plan with precision. Subtle comments planted in Willow's mind, orchestrated moments designed to highlight Drew's faults, and carefully leaked information that painted him in a less than flattering light. It started small. Carly made sure Willow overheard a conversation at Kelly's about Drew's past relationships, each one ending in disaster. Nina, on the other hand, worked on Michael, reinforcing his doubts about Willow's faithfulness. And then came the final blow. Carly had always been good at gathering information. A few well-placed questions, a discreet investigator, and suddenly she had what she needed. Proof that Drew had been less than honest about his intentions. A deal gone wrong, a business transaction that looked suspiciously like fraud. When the information landed in Willow's lap, she was devastated. "I thought I knew him," Willow whispered to Carly, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. "How could I have been so blind?" Carly wrapped an arm around her shoulder, feigning sympathy. "Sometimes we see what we want to see, Willow, but the truth always comes out in the end." Michael, meanwhile, confronted Drew in the Quartermain mansion, his anger barely contained. "You used my wife. You used my family. And you thought you could get away with it." Drew held up his hands. "Michael, I—" "Save it," Michael snapped. "You're done here." And just like that, Drew Quartermain found himself on the outside looking in. Carly and Nina had won. Or so they thought. The victory was short-lived. The truth had a funny way of unraveling, and before long, the cracks in their alliance began to show. Willow, heartbroken and confused, started asking questions, and when she did, she found answers she hadn't expected. Answers that led straight back to Carly and Nina. "You did this," Willow accused one evening at the Quartermain estate, her voice shaking with anger. "You manipulated me." Carly stiffened. "Willow, I was trying to protect you." "No," Willow shot back. "You were trying to control me." Nina tried to intervene, but Willow turned on her next. "And you," she hissed. "You were supposed to care about me, but instead you lied." Michael stepped forward, his face hard with betrayal. "I trusted you, Mom, and you, Nina, but all you did was play your games. Again." Carly's stomach dropped. She had been so focused on getting rid of Drew that she hadn't considered the consequences. And now, she was losing the very people she had fought to protect. As Willow and Michael walked away, Carly turned to Nina. For once, they were united in something other than hatred. They had won the battle against Drew. But at what cost?